was that? Hey. It's Friday morning. I have a bit of a headache because it's 8 degrees and it's a little silly outside. So let's try this again. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Motivation, Meditation, and Coffee with Kat. It's Friday. It is the final weekday of 2022. What's up with that? What happened to 1997? I don't know about you, but the 70s were 30 years ago. When I say back in the day, I mean in the late 80s, early 90s. Anyway, thank you for joining me this morning for Feedback Friday. And thank you for making the last 3 weeks the most exciting and positive for me. Good morning, Demetrio. How are you this morning? Good morning, Miss Tala Lee. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. It's exciting to be able to spend my morning with my friends on the internet. It's also exciting to know that, my friends are listening to what I have to say and are choosing to start their morning with me, opposed to the other options that are available to you. This is Feedback Friday, and so today I want to hear from you guys. I have received some questions through my email and through direct messages that I will address later on. But I wanted to use today for reflection. I know I have challenged you guys a lot this week, and some people did not find it as respectful as they would want to. Some people found it a lot of brain work first thing in the morning, but you know what? That's the joys of challenging yourself. So let's start our reflection with the challenges that I posed to you this past week. On Monday, I spoke about the equation of happiness, as I like to call it. Mental, emotional, and spiritual equals physical. If you have your emotional, mental, and spiritual alignment, then 90% of your physical will also be in alignment. If you've ever noticed that you might have aches, pains, ailments, you could find every excuse in the book to write it off. First example, I have a headache behind my left eye. I could choose to be a pirate and blame the barometric pressure because it's 8 degrees on December 30th, which is ridiculous. Or I could say, you know what? It's probably because I stayed up until 11:30 last night playing stupid mobile games, watching my friend, shout out to Mike the Bard, Hubcap Jones, lead singer of Love Fist. I stayed up till 11:30 watching him, knowing that I had to get up at 5 a.m. this morning. Do I have a headache from lack of sleep? Probably. Do I have a headache from playing video games all day yesterday, not eating a lot of food, and surviving off of coffee? Probably. Do I have a headache because the barometric pressure is shifting? Probably. But what am I going to focus on to make it better? I personally am going to choose to accept my headache is probably from exhaustion. My headache is probably from staying up too late and getting up too early, burning the candles at both ends. So, mentally, I'm in a really great place. Emotionally, I am super happy. Spiritually, I have found my life purpose, and I try to fulfill that every day. Physically, I feel good. I have a headache. That's it. So, to circle back to what I was mentioning, on Monday, I brought up the beginnings of this equation, and I challenged you. Mentally, what do you do once a day to bring yourself mental happiness? What do you do for self-care? What do you do to set boundaries so that people don't take advantage of your mental energies? And I challenged you to do something for 20 minutes. I challenged you to stop the people around you, to say, bleh, piss off, I am doing self-care for 20 minutes. I challenged you to find something that said, I want to do this for fun, opposed to something else that I should be doing. Do something you wanted opposed to something you should have. And Tuesday, when we reviewed it, I challenged you to reflect on what did you do. And if you did something and you set the boundaries and you created that habit, whether it be watching me first thing in the morning or listening to me first thing in the morning or choosing at the same time every day, leave me alone, I am listening to Kat, I am listening to meditations, I am meditating, choosing whatever it is you wanted to do. Or did you say, I don't have time for that right now? And did you actively choose to do something else that would have benefited somebody else opposed to you? And if you chose, I didn't do anything, that's fine. I wasn't calling you out. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I was simply bringing awareness to how much time do you spend focusing on your mental happiness. I then added the second layer for emotional. And not only did I challenge you to carry on the first layer of doing something on Tuesday that you wanted to do that brought you a mental happiness, but I also challenged you to take notice of everyone that you interacted with. Take notice of what emotional value that person brought to you. Why did you allow them to feed off your emotional energies? Because you value them and you reciprocate. You feed off of their positive energies just as much as they focus off of yours. Or you have to tolerate this person because they are a coworker. Or you have to do this because this is your family, but emotionally they are draining. Okay. And again, the following day, I challenged you to look back and reflect on the emotional value and the emotional input that they allowed you to have. What interactions did you have that helped you emotionally, that gave you a positive feeling, that gave you a positive uplift? And again, if you did reflect and you said, oh, I interacted with these 3 people and this happened and that happened and this happened, amazing. If you chose not to, again, I wasn't calling you out. I was simply bringing awareness to what were you afraid of noticing? Were you afraid to see that someone that you interact with every day, someone that you thought you had emotional value to, actually was just secondary gain? Were you afraid to notice something that you didn't want to notice or you didn't want to deal with? The next day, I added the third layer, spiritual. And this wasn't a come to Jesus talk. This wasn't a, you need to become a yogi or a Hindu or a Jesuit or a practicing Catholic. No. Spiritual is your authenticity. Spiritual is you. Your energies, your chakras, your acupuncture, you. And I challenged you to stand on top of on the amphitheater stage with your family and loved ones in the audience. Your friends, family, partner, lover, spouse. They were in the audience. And I challenged you to see, what do you look like? What do you project to those sections of the audience? And what was different between how you project yourself to your friends, how you project yourself to your family, how you project yourself to your partner, lover, spouse? And I concluded it with a dark out, blackout, going dark, whatever you want to call it. And I asked you to mentally picture a mirror in front of you and turn on the spotlight. And how do you project yourself to yourself? And what were the differences? And I challenged you for the final time to mentally do something that brought you happiness, to mentally stop what you were doing and focus on you and start to develop the boundaries. I challenged you to take notice of all of the interactions that you had through the day, who gave you emotional value, who gave you positive energies, and who drained you of everything that you felt. And the third portion of that was, are you being authentic to these people? And I don't mean honest. Honesty and authenticity are two very different things. Authenticity is you being you. Are you allowing yourself to feel the feelings that the situation is presenting? Or are you swallowing your feelings because that's not the appropriate response right now? Appropriate honesty can be masked. They can prevent you from being your authentic self if you don't even know who your authentic self is. And then yesterday, finally, the equals, the total of the equation, mental, emotional, spiritual equals physical. And we took an inventory of how you felt. We took an inventory of how you felt mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And then we did some amazing meditation. And with that meditation, we took an inventory after we were relaxed, after we had brought our focus from the world, from everybody else, to self. We took an inventory of how do we feel when we are focusing on ourselves, when we are being authentic to ourselves, and we are in a state of emotional happiness and mental happiness. And we felt pretty good. So what does all that have to do with today? Today is the last weekday of 2022. Today is the last weekday that you are able to say, you know what? It sounds like a tomorrow project. Today is the last day of the time, the week that time forgot. Because tomorrow, Saturday, it's the weekend. Some of you might be working. Tomorrow might just be another day for you. But tomorrow, depending on what your situation is, I know tomorrow I'm not going to be paying attention to anything because I'm going to be spending it with friends. I'm going to be spending it playing board games and having fun with my friends, and I am not going to be paying attention to, does this board game bring me emotional, spiritual, and mental happiness? No, because I'm already going to be happy, because I am already emotionally, mentally, and spiritually happy, because I chose to focus on this months ago. This is your chance to live the last day in problem. And you're probably wondering why I just said in problem. The difference between being in problem and not problem. In problem is things that you want to change. Things that are not going well that you need to change, but you might not have figured out exactly how to change it yet. Not problem. Being in a state of not problem is just, it is what it is. You don't like it, you could fix it, but it's easier to just let it go. Which brings me back to the statement I said a couple of days ago. Don't waste energy on things you can't control. That is an oxymoron. Because you are actively wasting energy trying to not waste energy on things that you can't control. Therefore, you're invalidating yourself. So I'm going to challenge you once again, and I know you guys are going to start being triggered whenever I say, I challenge you. Close your eyes. Relax. Let the music take you wherever your unconscious wants to go. And just notice what the environment looks like. Is it in color? Is it black and white? Is it a movie or is it a still picture? Are there other sounds just besides the music that are playing? Are you looking through this place through your own eyes, or do you see yourself standing there from a third person point of view? And now I want you to gently float up. Float up above this place and watch it become smaller and smaller below you. Float up into the cosmos, into the space, into the quantum. And I want you to look down. And as you look down, I want you to see your timeline for the last year. You can see the past events. You can see future events. What positive events do you see in the last year on your timeline? What positive events do you see on your timeline that you can notice that made a positive change in my life? Staying way up high above the timeline, staying way up high so you can see the entire year spelled out before you, below you. What events happened this year that might not have turned out the way you wanted it to? What events happened this year that made you feel like shit? That were a negative influence on you that might have prevented you from doing something that you wanted to do. And as you look at your timeline, I want you to choose one of those events. Just picture one of the events in your mind of something that might have gone wrong, something that has prevented you from doing what you wanted to do this year. And now, looking down on the event, I ask your unconscious mind to connect to your highest self-wisdom. What does your unconscious need to learn from this event so you can release and transmute this negative emotion easily and effortlessly, gently and joyfully? Your unconscious will preserve the learnings and store them holographically and at a cellular level, allowing you to remember that they're there so that you can utilize them now and in the future should you ever need them. Just pop into the event. Mentally say to yourself, I learned. And mentally say to yourself what those lessons are. I learned that I am good enough to do what I wanted to do. I learned that there are greater things in store for me. Staying way up high above your timeline, float even higher up and further back. You're floating up to the field of pure potentiality. Your unconscious knows precisely where to go. Turn and face toward the event so that it is in front of you and below you. Here, in the field of pure potentiality, allow the alchemy of forgiveness to cleanse and purify that event, the circumstances surrounding the event and anyone connected to the event, or the old limiting decision and negative belief. Acknowledge the divine perfection in this, and know that now that you have the learnings and have chosen to release yourself from the weight of this, you can now let go of the limiting belief and allow the alchemy of forgiveness here in the field to transmute it into positive momentum for you to reclaim the truth of who you are and to energize the future you are creating. Allow yourself to breathe in this new truth with all the positive energies of the learnings that you have now found. Because all process must be complete with forgiveness of self, take a moment here in the field to forgive yourself now for ever allowing that emotion to have had control over your thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and behavior. Understand that you needed this experience so that you can choose to experience that which you truly are: pure, unconditional love. Forgive yourself for ever seeing anything other than your inherent perfection, wholeness, and divinity. Honor your ability to use the magic of the field of pure potentiality to project an entirely new present and create a new path in the future. Allow the alchemy of forgiveness to cleanse and purify the conscious of your entire timeline, from then to now. Now, the point of that was to show you how reprogramming your unconscious and how going back to a simple event can actually change the way you see, think, feel, and interact with events moving forward. I know some of you might have been thrown off kilter a little bit because that was a taste of what's called a quantum time release. And that is something that I am practiced in, that we gently and joyfully go back into your unconscious and we can find the root cause of some things that you might be living with. We can find the root cause of your anxiety. Why are you anxious? Why are you nervous in public settings? Most importantly, we can go back into your past and we can find out what was the trigger for the limiting belief of I'm not good enough or I can't do this. For an example, looking back on this year, it's been a roller coaster. This time last year, I thought I had the perfect job. I was finally working in the mental health field. I was finally providing help to those that needed it. Unfortunately, I also discovered that I had management that were micromanaging because apparently that was acceptable. Micromanaging in a mental health group practice, while confusing, was also negative. It was toxic. So I left. And I found a new job in the mental health field. And they were appreciative of my skills and my abilities, but then they gave me the, we can't afford you. I found a new job. And once again, they couldn't afford me. So I got sick and tired of not being affordable. And I decided that, you know what? I am going to start my own business. And immediately, people said, are you fucking crazy? You can't just start your own business. We're in the middle of a recession. Nobody has any money. How do you think you're going to have any money? And that's when I realized that I had a lot of self-doubt about opening my own business. I had a lot of, oh shit, what have I just done? So I reached out to one of my friends, who is also a neurolinguistics practitioner who has also practiced in the quantum time release. And we went back in my timeline and we discovered that when I was a kid, somebody told me, you are never going to be able to do that. I'm paraphrasing because I want to keep the story anonymous. But I was told when I expressed my dream, when I expressed what I wanted to do when I grew up, I was told flat out, you're never going to be able to do that, do something else. And that stuck with me. That simple line, you're never going to be able to do that, stuck with me for 35 years. And once I released it, suddenly, I started noticing that, you know what? I can do whatever the hell I want to do. It doesn't matter if people don't think I can do it, it's because they can't do it. Telling me that I can't do something is because they are afraid to. I took the leap from the lion's head in August and I started Live with Advantage. I took a leap from the lion's head and I started my own transformational life coaching business because I wanted to help people become their true authentic self. I wanted people to see the amazing mental health progression that I could help them do. I wanted to let people know that there was a difference and there was a healthy alternative to traditional talk therapy. And while my supporters were a 50-50 split, those that stuck with me are still with me today. Those that doubted me, those that said, okay, good luck with that, you're gonna start the woo-woo new age health thing, sure. Guess where they are? They're grumpy, they're sad, and they're reaching out for help. This wasn't a, see, told you so. This was a thank you for sticking with me, for allowing me to do what I love to do. This is a proof positive that the last few years have been shit. We are spending more time paying attention to other people, other people's happiness, other people's comfort, other people's well-being. We're not paying enough time to ourselves. And I'm not saying chaotic, it's the word I'm looking for. Chaotic entitlement, that's it. I'm not talking about chaotic entitlement where you walk into a grocery store and you say, I am the customer and I deserve. No, go fuck yourself. What I'm talking about is self-awareness. What are you doing to keep yourself happy? What are you doing to find fulfillment? If you need to realign your energies, if you need to realign your chakras, if you need to remember what your life purpose is, that's what I help you do. Transformational life coaching isn't a, subscribe for 1,000 years and fork over hundreds of dollars every week only to have more emotions bubble up. Transformational life coaching is just that, it's transformation. You have a goal. I'll use a specific case study. Again, anonymous. I had someone reach out to me and say, I am super proud of you for quitting smoking. And I said, that's awesome. I appreciate that. I had COVID. And my brain was more focused on keeping my lungs working and keeping me awake than I was smoking. So thank you, COVID, for helping me quit smoking. And they said, oh, I want to quit smoking. Okay, let's do it. In 4 weeks, 2 hours a day, I had them quit smoking. Have I spoken to them since? No. Because we achieved what they wanted to achieve. That's it. Done. Period. Clinical psychology, I have worked for a group practice. I know how those work. Here's a hot take, and I am pre-framing this as a hot take because I don't want to cause dissension in the ranks. This is my humble opinion, and I encourage everyone to make their own opinions on what things are. I did 7 years of traditional talk therapy at $180 an hour. And while it helped for the immediate problem, it started bubbling up other problems that also caused, oh, this is what we need to do. Okay, this is next. And this is next. And this is next. And as things kept bubbling up, I kept going back. because it never fixed the root cause. It only fixed the presenting cause. And so I liken it to a fire, where traditional talk therapy puts out the flames on the top. It doesn't put out the root of the fire, and it doesn't dispel all of the ashes and move all the embers and make sure the fire doesn't bubble up again. Because then they lose you, right? Traditional talk therapy is diagnose, prescribe, and fix the presenting problem. Am I still on anxiety medication? Absolutely I am. Am I still on antacids for heartburn? Absolutely I am. Are they helping me? Absolutely they are, because my brain is able to focus on one thing. All of the noise is gone. So it helped me with the presenting problem of my social anxiety so that I could get to the medication that I needed. Then, with the help and support of said medication, I was able to use neurolinguistics, I was able to use quantum time release, and I was able to use transformational life coaching to find the root cause of my anxiety. Does it still affect me? Sure, when I let it. But I have been able to develop new techniques, new coping mechanisms that allow my anxiety to stay in check. I live with anxiety. I don't suffer from it. So to go back to the not smoking, if you want to make positive change, you need to want to make positive change. And that positive change is what we focus on. And once that positive change has been completed, take care. Thanks for all the fish. Peace out. If you need something, I'll be over here. I don't want returning clients because that means my job was not done. That means that I was not effective in my transformational coaching. I want you to choose to come to me to say, I love my job, but I hate getting up in the morning and going there. Okay, let's find out what happened. What is your life purpose? My life purpose is customer service. I love customer service. I love having cranky people come in and say, where the hell are all the deep fryers? They're right over here. Let me help you. There are people that do work in retail that love their job, but they are struggling to get up in the morning to go to their job. And when we start looking at things, when we do a detailed discovery session, we find out it's actually not the job that the problem is. It's the toxic negativity of their surrounding associates. It's the toxic negativity of their family. It's the toxic positivity that they've been dealing with in themselves. So once we change the mindset, once we remap some of the neurons in the subconscious, suddenly they love going to work again. They look forward to getting up in the morning, getting ready, and going to work with the challenges of the day, because they have rediscovered their life purpose, and they have removed the toxic negativity and the toxic positivity and replaced it with their shield, with breath work, and remembering what it is that they are meant to do in life. And again, once we discover that, perfect. I never see them again. Because their purpose in life, their change that they wanted to make, has been achieved. transformational life coaching is result oriented. And so why am I going on about this ridiculous sales pitch? Because this last week is one of the factors that I focus on in my transformational coaching. This is one of the things, the mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. That equation is what determines what you want to change. And it determined what I wanted to do in my life. Once I figured out my mental state, my emotional state, my spiritual state, suddenly my physical state was great. And so this last week, the week that time forgot, the week that I've been challenging you to draw awareness to your environment, I wanted you to draw awareness to what you want to change in your life. This was the perfect week to draw attention to things that maybe you realize were not problem. You know, you can't stand that one coworker, but guess what? You can't avoid them because you have to work with them. But you know what you can do? You can shield yourself. You can allow the flow of information and emotions. You can discover who actually has emotional value, and you can suddenly decide, shit, I've been putting emotional value on this person only because it's easier to do that than it is to get rid of them. Because if I get rid of them, that could cause some serious splash damage. There's a secondary gain. You really don't like them, but it gives you somebody to talk to at work. Alright. What if you stop talking to them and talk to somebody else? Being uncomfortable means that you are about to make a large change in your life. And sometimes change is uncomfortable, and sometimes change can be scary because you don't know how it's going to go. Again, I circle back to when I became a transformational life coach. I lost a lot of friends because they said, oh, I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you're just going to be psychoanalyzing me the entire time. Or, how can you start your own business? You have no overhead, you don't have any money, and now you're expecting other people to come to you to pay you to fix their mental instabilities? Maybe you should not do that. The best line, most recently, I got from somebody was, have you got a job yet? To which I said, I have a job. And they said, no, I meant a real job, one that actually pays you money. And looking at that event, I could have taken it offensively. I could have got my back up, bared my teeth and said, you know what? Just because you don't believe in mental health doesn't mean that, my job is invalid. I could have lost my shit. But I didn't. Instead, I looked at the situation. I looked at their model of the world. And I realized their model of the world does not match mine because they never had the chance to start their own business. And they don't believe in self-starters, they don't believe in mental health, and they don't believe that I can be successful. So, I looked at them and I said, I do have a job, and the payment that I get is knowing that I am helping people look and succeed in mental health where I couldn't find it. I do have a job bringing positivity and enlightenment to people who are not getting the satisfaction or not getting the results from traditional talk therapy. Payment in the form of, oh my God, Kat, I have had more success and more results in the last 8 hours than I have in the last 3 years of therapy, is payment for me. Streaming every morning and seeing my followers, watching the viewer count constantly rise, and looking back and seeing, 3 people might have been live with me at 7 o'clock in the morning, but throughout the day, that video got 22 views. 22 people decided to actively take an hour from their day, set the boundaries, and say, I'm listening to Kat. That is payment. And their argument is, oh, well, thoughts and prayers don't pay the bills. No, they don't. But you know what? Positivity does. Positivity pays the bills, because when I help others, they will make a change. And then their change will be seen by other people. And their people are going to be like, what is going on with you? How did you become so happy? How did you become so chill? How did you master the art of chill? And when you say, after I finish playing The Art of Chill by Bob Ross, I hang out with Kat. And then they will find me. And then they will reach out and say, I want to make a positive change in my life. I don't want returning clients, because as I said, if I see you, I want to see you for different reasons. If I help you quit smoking, and then I don't see you for 6 months, and then you come back saying, I want a different job. Okay, let's work on that. What job do you want? And we start the process again for you to make a positive change in your life. So, what are you going to do next year to make a positive change in your life? What are you going to do that's going to make a lasting, meaningful impression on yourself, your family, and your friends? What are you going to do to change your mental, emotional, spiritual in order to fix the physical? So, circling back to Feedback Friday, I have been asked to do the triple layer shields again, so that people can be shielded going into the new year. They can have the shield going to work today, and I've been asked to do the triple layer shield a little more often, so that is definitely a thing. I have also been asked, I gave a shout out with my authenticity. Each morning you see me sitting here in my frumpy sweater, in my office that you can see. I don't hide anything. My hair is never done. I just throw a headset on just to keep the hair out of my eyes, because this is who I am. I am authentic. And someone asked me, the sweater that I wear is actually a Magic the Gathering, not a sponsor, send me free stuff. It is a Rakdos sweater. The Rakdos Circus is a red-black portion of the Magic the Gathering deck. It is stage theater focused, and Rakdos, the showstopper, is, I believe, one of the patrons. I have a tendency of melding Rakdos Circus with D&D. Ravnica and D&D are part of the same umbrella company, WotC. Again, not a sponsor, send me free stuff. My most recent D&D campaign, actually, I combined the Witchlight Carnival with the Rakdos Circus, which was super fun. And finally, the last question I had was the signature programs that I have happening in the new year. If you are a patron, please check your emails, because you will be getting some information on that soon. Because all my patrons do get early access to all of the first information. But next Friday, you will be receiving, everybody will be receiving, because I will be talking about it. I'm super excited about it. I will be talking more about the Awaken Your True Self. It is a licensed program that I learned through Avalon Empowerment. They do it over the course of a weekend. I have obviously put my own spin on it, because I understand that life is gonna life, and you shouldn't have to lose money by booking time off of work to make a positive change in your life. I also know that nobody wants to spend 16 hours with me over the weekend when that might be your only option to have family time. So I have changed it. I've changed the delivery of it. I hope you guys ask me for more information about it. Again, if you're a patron, check your emails, because you will be getting more information from that in your inboxes. And also, starting next Saturday, January 7th, is the launch of my signature program, A Familiar Breakthrough. A familiar breakthrough is a breakthrough process that allows you to achieve your goals and allows you to dispel your negative emotions and limiting beliefs through the eyes of your familiar. It's a D&D spin that on Saturdays we have a group session where you travel with other familiars, and you go through the deep, dark, scary forest, the domains of dread, the values village. There are all sorts of different role-playing aspects and different things that you experience with other people in a group setting through the eyes of your familiar, as well as each week you and I sit down and have a one-on-one unpack of what you might have experienced through that session. You know, maybe you realize that your values are out of alignment, and you and I take a look at those. A familiar breakthrough is the breakthrough process, again, that I learned through Avalon Empowerment, that I have put my own spin on, so that you can achieve dissociation through creation. Play therapy has been proven to work with children. It has been proven that dissociation through creation allows you to have more of an open mind and allow you to receive thoughts and feelings through your unconscious easier, because consciously you're not there. Consciously you have built a wall around discovering some of these thoughts and feelings, and so a familiar breakthrough through the eyes of your familiar allows you to experience some of these things in a different setting. As well as, I wanted to bring play to adults. Play therapy is always used for kids, and I know for a fact that play therapy would have the exact same results for adults. And I know I keep saying therapy, even though I am not a clinical therapist, but because play therapy is actually a solution that has been trademarked technically, what I propose is a form of therapy. But we all know that the T word is not what I aim for. I aim for results. And so January 7th is the first session 0, if you will, of a familiar breakthrough. It does last for 8 weeks. The group D&D sessions are on Saturdays from 12 till 4. And then the one-on-one sessions with me throughout the week to unpack whatever you learned is at your own convenience. If you work the mornings and you need a session at 5 a.m. in the morning, okay, I can get up. I'm up anyway. If you work midnights and you want a session at 8 o'clock at night to unpack what's happening, done. Let's do it. If you have a certain day off and 12 till 2 works best for you, awesome. 12 till 2 it is. Each individual session is 2 hours, because in 2 hours that allows us to discuss what's happening, integrate the learnings, as well for you to understand and integrate it for the rest of your day. 2 hours is what I feel is a good time, because 1 hour never allows you to really discuss, really integrate, and really address the feelings that bubble up through whatever conversations you're having. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to connect with me. You can shoot me an email at info@livewithadvantage.com, and I can send you all of the deets, all the particulars on a familiar breakthrough. And once again, if you want to join the Patreon, I believe you can find the link on my Facebook page. You can also find the link on my Twitter page. I will post it again for those of you that are watching live. If you're watching the VOD, check my page and you can find the Patreon. There are 3 levels of patronage that you can contribute to. And again, if you are looking for transformational coaching, if you're wondering maybe this is what is right for me, but you don't want to take the investment of, meeting with me for 2.5 hours discussing things and then saying, no, this is not cool, do a Patreon. Become a Patreon, and you get access to exclusive content. You get access to a free monthly check-in from me. You get all sorts of cool stuff. And it's also a way to support me, to help me keep doing what I love doing. So with that, I'm going to flip over to the meditation as we start our triple shield to get you guys ready for the day. Thank you for joining me for the last 3 weeks. This has been amazing, and I never thought that streaming would be such a positive influence. I want to thank you for choosing to start your day with me, opposed to watching the news or watching whatever it is that you normally do first thing in the morning. I am glad that I am able to make a positive influence on your life, and I hope that you continue to enjoy and continue to join me every morning when we start again next week. So, I'm going to flip over to the meditation. And as always, once we are finished the meditation, I will let the music run for a few minutes just so you can continue to relax, you can continue to integrate, you can continue to think undisturbed with the super chill music in the background. I invite you now to close your eyes and allow the music to take your unconscious where it wants to go. Allow yourself to see the world that the music creates in your mind, and notice the peace and calm throughout your body. Mentally say to yourself, I control how energy and information flows. Repeat this mentally with confidence and conviction. Imagine purple and violet light of divine wisdom and discernment coming down from the top of your head into your heart and into the rest of your body. Have that violet light come out from your chest and wrap around you and going back into you through your spine. The second layer of this shield is the golden light of divine, unconditional love coming down from your highest source of self-wisdom. Have the light spill from your head like a waterfall, wrap around the first shield, and move down to the bottom of your feet. The final layer of your shield is bright, clear light of divine, absolute power, coming down from your source, surrounding your entire body, creating a bubble. The bubble extends beyond your outreached hands and below your feet and above your head. I invite you now to develop awareness of this shield. Feel the warmth and comfort at the divine absolute power, the unconditional love and wisdom surrounding you. Show gratitude to everything and the intention. I control how energy and information flows. And in this state of relaxation, know that this shield will be with you throughout the day, preventing you from being bombarded by any of the negativity that might come at you. You control how information and energy flows.